We're going to talk about Christian Pulisic, first and foremost, writing a book. He's only 24. He hasn't even lived half of his life.
Oh, you're missing that? Oh, Jimmy, come on. You can't miss that. You can't stoke this whole thing up over text messages.
Yeah, in the group chat, man, trying to wind us all up and then bounce.
I thought you guys could talk about it. Listen.
You were the most charged over this.
I was charged.
So
okay, first of all,
give us your take before you bounce.
Okay, my take was that he has in this book about how Thomas Tuchel was yelling at him before that, the goal he scored against Real Madrid in the semifinals, that he heard Thomas Tuchel say a goddamn complete sentence before he made a split-second decision. And I just don't buy what he's selling. Now, I do think it's plausible that he heard Tuchel say that earlier in the game, and now he's kind of misremembering when that happened. But you guys know, first and foremost, you can't hear coaches from the sideline. And second, you definitely can't hear him screaming.
You can at the Rev Stadium. You can for sure. You can hear it.
Hey, mind you, this was COVID time, right?
Yeah.
So there are no fans.
But he's still not giving out a complete sentence.
It's because you're a center back. You don't really get instructions.
No.
I can tell you.
I think he got that instruction, but it didn't happen right before the play.
I can hear coaches yelling, tuck in or press or move here. You can hear that.
Good on you, Charlie, for calling him out. But then he wanted to stay past his welcome, and
yes.
we're gonna continue into the second half of the show here. Just you and I chatting. Do you have any thoughts on the Pulisic stuff? Do you feel like there's a danger to him? I've gotten a lot of random messages to people just sharing with me the things that they found of quotes from the book of saying like this could hurt him with future clubs, of being a guy who's sort of sharing what's in the locker room, or being a guy who is like taking things out of context or airing his dirty laundry while he's still just like, barely 24 years old. I mean, do you think there's a potential effect on that, or?
Yeah. I mean, it's all right to write books. I would say that it's better to keep.
Sounds like you're writing a book, Charlie. That's what that sounds like. So,
no, eventually, but I'm done my career, right?
Yeah.
I think for him, it's about keeping those things until you're done playing, because you could burn bridges. And in this game, in this world, anything can happen. It's such a small world, and you could maybe upset a coach, a player, a sporting director, whatever it is, and that could come back to haunt you. So I would say, wait till you're done your career, and he has so many years ahead of him. Like, his story's not even close to being done.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that a player can have.
Do you think it's like an outlet? Do you think it's an outlet that he's doing this? I mean, like for him to like kind of like move on, or like put it like literally bookend a moment of his career.
100%. I think it's one of those things where to get it off your chest, you just write and you say, hey, this is one way to deal with it. It's, everyone has different levers to deal with mental stress and pressure. So this must be one of his.
Yeah. Yours is smoking hookah still, or you don't smoke hookah anymore? Is that not a thing anymore?
No hookahs.
Is that not a thing anymore? Yeah.
I feel like it's not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Some people in France, I don't think that's ever going away. That's like French players, they love to do that. But yeah, I've seen some players and he's still doing it now. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Now, I know we covered a little bit of Pulisic. I'm assuming we think he is a sure starter from now through the World Cup. I mean, clearly at the World Cup, but do you think that there is a risk of needing again to look elsewhere in the lineup just to know, like, okay, Christian Pulisic would naturally play 90 minutes, but maybe he can't go 90 minutes in some game. Who else do you put there? And we haven't really looked to that position much in terms of rotation or depth within the squad. And you've got a Jordan Morris, you've got a Paul Arriola. We know Jordan Morris has generally been that guy over time, but he also hasn't been at the level that we know Jordan Morris to be at in past years. And Paul Arriola, who's in form, but generally can play both sides. But I mean, do you think that there's a reason to tinker a little bit and try something else in these games?
No, but I would say you probably went from you can't sub him like he's a 90-minute player every game to if he's not playing well, now that crosses your mind. 65, 70 minutes. I'm looking at Brandon Aronson. Gio Reyna has played on the left. Brandon Aronson has played on the left. Those guys you can easily switch to that position. And who knows, maybe you change the tactics depending on the game, and you need to make a sub. Maybe you put on two strikers, whatever it is. He's not in a position where he can't be sub now. Like that's very plausible considering he's not playing and he hasn't been in good form.
Interesting. You know, this Misael Romero is saying that he went to order a jersey on the U.S. Soccer Store, and there was 27 name suggestions. Is there an assumption that the final 26 are already on that list? Charlie, I mean, actually, do you think this is a more accurate question? Because I think that's tough to actually speculate on. But like, do you think that after this camp, 2 games, or even say even this first game, that we're 24 of those 26 pending injuries and change, or can the 6 weeks left or 7 weeks left leading up to the World Cup change that? Will club form really matter other than the players that may go a longer period from injury? Like, do you think any of that will matter, or are we nearly there?
I'd say 23 names are cemented.
Okay.
23. I think there's room for players coming on or off with the last 3 spots. Because remember, you touched on it. November 13th is the last weekend, and the 21st, this game starts. Typically, in a World Cup year in the summer, you've got a camp, and
right.
you call in 36, and I'd say of that 36, and there's only 23 spots, probably 18 you could say for sure. There's room to earn your spot in that camp. Now there's no room to earn any spot.
We had 30 in 2010, obviously 26 players. You would normally have, again, probably 36 players to be able to cut out those extra 3, 10 players. There are a few that that are maybe injury reserve or going to be on the alternates list and probably don't have a shot. But there are other ones that you could work your way in and way out, right? I always go back to like the Gooch thing. Like, you didn't know who was going to fit into that conversation, knowing where Gooch was at in terms of his recovery, and other players in terms of like how can they fit into this puzzle to be able to contribute maybe in multiple positions and things like that. So you're thinking we're 23 of 26. So would you say beyond that, then, is there a single player that you think that this is make or break camp time for them? Is it an Areola? Is it a Morris? Is it a Luca De La Torre, or is it somebody that could get minutes? Is it one of the center backs?
I'd say of this group,
we got 3 right backs as well this camp. I mean, is there anybody that can really boost their stock or fall out if they don't have a top performance?
I think Malik Tillman is in that conversation. I think Jordan Morris is in that conversation. I think Paul Areola is in that conversation. Johnny Cardoso. I think Areola's going, but Johnny Cardoso is in that conversation as a late add-in. Then you have Eric Palmer-Brown, Mark McKenzie, Joe Scally, and then I would say Reggie Cannon. I think Yedlin's going. So of those, I think those are the players right now that it's everything's on the line for them in this camp.
I think Sam Vines, if he has a really good camp, he's going to go to the World Cup. Because I think that
I agree.
I think that it's been revealed enough to know that who you want and who you actually get at a World Cup in terms of health is not always the case. And we know injuries happen in World Cups, every World Cup, right? In terms of like a knock or a little bump or a bruise or, yellow card troubles or all these things, to be able to go to what you think are 2 players in every position that can do the job. Having said that, we didn't do that in 2010. But you had a Carlos Bocanegra who'd played at the club level at left back. You had DeMarcus Beasley who was playing more at left back. So you had plenty of coverage of natural position players that could do the job at a World Cup level. And I think that's where he could fit into. And then that's where you start to maybe lose a Reggie Cannon, because you've got 2 in that, or you've got the depth there with.
Well, you got 3 because Tyler Adams played at right back. So I would be like, my mind would be blown if we saw 3 right backs at the World Cup.